So humanity can't handle control over the entire world. That's impossible. And then God destroys the world and tries again. And what happens? God gives humanity now a little more direction, says you're still in charge of the world, but I'm going to give you like a couple of simple rules. Don't kill, don't eat blood, etc. Right? And what happens? Well, Noah's children also, there's sin, there's the Tower of Babel, humanity starts to descend again. So finally God says, when he gets to Abraham, he says, okay, you know what? We're not going to have all human beings being charged of the entire world. That's just too much responsibility. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a single family and I'm going to give them responsibility over a single piece of land. And they're going to be the representatives of God in that land, just like, that's why the word aretz is used here. There are other words for land in the Bible, and there are other words for earth in the Bible. The reason the Bible uses the word aretz to describe both the whole earth in Genesis 1 and the land of Israel in Genesis 12 is because what God is saying is, I'm going to set you, Abraham, up as both my servant in the land, and you're also going to have to play the role of God because you're created in my image. What I want you to do is, I'm not putting you in charge of the whole earth. In fact, Israel's not allowed to conquer anything outside the land of Israel. It's actually prohibited for the Israelites to conquer anything outside the land of Israel. It's not an empire. It's not like Assyria, Babylon. It's not like the Islamic Empire or anything like that.
Yeah, expansion is not the goal.
Yeah. What I want you to do is create a lab unto the nations, right? Not just a light, a lab unto the nations in this land. And I want you to basically treat this like I treat all of creation. God says, I rule over the entire world, and I want you to try and mimic me in this land. Create a just society, create a godly society, create a society that can serve as a beacon of light. That's why God assigns responsibility to Abraham and his descendants to this land, because it's the place where they're going to live out the destiny that God has given them. And that's why God promises to return them, because ultimately this is the task that he's given to Abraham, is the task of responsibility.
So it's almost as if, as God zooms in on one man, he's also zooming in on one land.
Exactly.
And so it all comes into this kind of pinpoint fixture of, now, if you want to understand who I am as the divine creator and the one who desires relationship with you, it's all going to be centralized now, beginning with this man and staying in this land. And that's going to echo out into the further reaches and the four corners of the earth.
And that's why God says in Genesis 12, I will bless those who bless you and those who curse you will be cursed. Why? Because God's saying, listen, I'm conducting an experiment here. I'm assigning Abraham a responsibility. Your job, if you see him carrying out my task, is to help and to support and to respect that this is his job. If you can do that, then that means you'll understand what my task is for you too, right? God wants humanity to flourish everywhere in the world. And God wants us to use our zones of responsibility to bring his light and his word into the world. So God's saying, listen, I'm assigning Abraham a job. Doesn't mean he's better than anybody. He's certainly not. God doesn't give a reason for choosing Abraham in Genesis 12. That's the ultimate mystery. God doesn't tell us why he chooses Abraham,